Talk about fairy tale. Goodness gracious, so cool. And it's his parents in the crowd. That reaction, something very special. Guiu.
Well done, Dan.
Sticking in. Now, Mario and Frank are with us because I want to talk about their debuts a little bit later on. Maybe not as sensational as Marc Guiu. What a way to start your career as we welcome in. Oh, wait, no, let's hear what Marc Guiu had to say first, shall we? I can't believe it. I'm struggling to breathe, enjoying the moment. You can't imagine this, but I've been working all my life to take advantage of opportunities, and it's come to me. Inigo Martinez told me that I won't be able to sleep today, but that I should enjoy it. Xavi, after the game, said, I can see the desire to play in these boys' faces. They're not at all scared. Like my generation, they look at me with desire, telling me to play them. They look at me with positivity. It really is, Alex, something very special that I imagine is being embraced not only by Barcelona, but fans in Spain overall.
Oh, it's fantastic. Is there anything better in football than a kid coming off the bench for his debut, scores the first time he gets the ball to give his team the win? It's just incredible. There are so many aspects to this that I love. We saw the footage there, as you said, of his family going absolutely crazy, celebrating the goal in the crowd.
Oh, such is the excitement of Marc Guiu. Alex, we just lost you there. Let's see. We might have you back. You were getting excited about the crowd.
Here. His family loving it and going crazy in the crowd. I was saying João Cancelo, telling him he's got to take the whole team out for McDonald's to celebrate afterwards. And you got the fact that his Instagram account went from 40,000 followers to 640,000 followers in the space of a few minutes, as people found out, like, who is this kid, and wanted to find out more about him. It's absolutely brilliant. But there's also a bigger point, of course, and the bigger point is that this says, and in fact, Guiu said this afterwards, La Masia, the Barca Academy, is working. And thank goodness for Barca that it is, because they are producing these kids. And in a really difficult time for Barca off the pitch, they've got these kids that are getting the team out of trouble. Look around the team. Look at Gavi. Look at Balde. Look at Lamine Yamal. Look at Fermin Lopez. Look at Marc Guiu now as well. They keep producing these players of the requisite kind of quality and mentality who are ready to come into the first team and deliver. And like I say, it's such a difficult time for Barca. Thank goodness that they've got this gold mine, really, of talent, and these players just keep coming. And
you take a look at that list there, it really is quite incredible. And what kind of is very striking is that no one seems to hide. And Xavi made that point.
Yeah.
And that you've got these youngsters who've seen others do it, and I suppose that can be an inspiration. If you've seen Lamine Yamal score, and you've been playing with him in Barca B for so long, you're going to think, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
I think that's a huge benefit when you see players who you played alongside coming through the academy, do it at the level that they are, that you feel as comfortable or as confident as they are. I had a manager, Alan Podge, who always spoke about the naivety of youth. And I think that's kind of what Xavi is hinting at. That these young players are just coming in and playing the game as though they're on a school playground, with totally naive of the fact that this is, okay, it's not the Camp Nou, but this is Barcelona. And this is in the, 82nd minute, and it's still 0. And you have an opportunity to score past Spain's number 1 to win the game. All of that is totally lost on a 17-year-old. And every time something like this happens, it reminds me, and I know that Mario and Frank will feel the same, that for all our discussions around Ballon d'Ors and winning Champions Leagues and World Cups and everything else that comes with what we do on a daily basis, there is just this kind of unbridled passion about when we were young and just playing the game because we loved it. For no other reason, never expecting that you'd go on and win the kind of silverware that those two have won. That you just play the game because you love it. And then Marc Guiu shows up as young players do every now and then, and just reminds us of that. And it's so good to see on the level of this is Barcelona and you've won 3 points, but just on a level of this is it brings out the kid in all of us.
And to accentuate that, Alex, we obviously saw the reaction from his parents in the stand as well.
Yeah, just I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine watching your son go out there and perform like that and deliver like that? It just must be the most special moment for the family. And looking at Marc Guiu being interviewed after the match as well. I mean, he's a kid. Of course he is. This is a kid who, it's not just that he hasn't played for the Barca first team before. He's barely played for the B team. He's been playing for the under-team side mostly. And seeing him interviewed on Spanish TV afterwards, he just did look like a delighted big kid. It was funny. He was stood there alongside David Villa, actually on Spanish TV, one of the greatest Spanish strikers ever. And he was saying that, David Villa was his idol and he couldn't believe that he was stood there next to him. You could tell it was just the biggest day of his life. And he's an interesting player. He's got different qualities that can help Barca, I think. He's sort of a big, strong centre forward, not so much of the technical kind of player that we're so used to Barcelona producing. But his emergence comes at a really important time because they've got various players out. Of course, Lewandowski wasn't available for this one. Lewandowski was watching on and applauding from the stands as Guiu put this one away with the kind of finish that Lewandowski would have been proud of himself. And yeah, like I say, he comes along at just the right time.
It's interesting, as I mentioned before, Xavi after the game talking about him and comparing these youngsters to his generation, Frank, who he described as scared at this age. Can you relate to that? Can you relate to the fact that you've got these kids coming through who are playing so carefree?
I wouldn't, because I knew some players, very young coming into the game at my age or during my generation, having no fear and no naivety in their games and going for that and just for the sake of it, for the pleasure of being on the field and scoring goals. I remember Patrick Vieira starting in Cannes at 16 or 17 years old and didn't care. It was like normal going there and happy to be there, not wondering how beautiful it was. And you know what? When I saw that just now, I almost went in tears because you know what? The emotion that I saw with the parents is absolutely crazy. As Shaka said, it's exactly what we went through. The first game that we played, or the first goal that we scored, or maybe the first save that Shaka made, it's just for your parents you do that, because you know that they have sacrificed many things for you, that you take risks to become a football player, and there you on the field, and you get the people crazy, and your parents get in tears, and you know what they feel and the pride that they have on you. And well, that's insane. This story is insane. I mean, I'm so proud of the guy, and I so love football because of that.
Mario, how old were you for your debut? So take us through your start.
I was 19 years old, and this is what Frank and Shaka said. Like, I was on the underground, and the underground in Holland comes above the floor, and I was going to the southeast and watching the stadium being built. They were building the new stadium, and I was hoping as a kid to make my debut one time in this stadium. Next thing you know, Ajax opening game of the stadium. I at school, I get the call that I got to meet up. Next thing you know, I make my debut against AC Milan. So for me, this moment, I totally understand this child. This is one of the most beautiful moments, like Frank and Shaka said. There's no difference. What they feel and said is exactly what I felt. Because sometimes people have to understand, when you're this young, you know how many kids are around you that want to achieve that moment. And there are so many kids that are, sometimes they could have been better. They could have thought they were better. But no one had the belief. The only reason why sometimes people make it is because their belief and dedication was stronger than only their ability. Because that's where people go wrong. They think the ability will take you there. No, it's the belief and the dedication. This kid, come on, Mark, he walks on the street. I had to go back to school. Imagine going back to school with my backpack and my soccer bag, walking back in the school, everybody looking at me and go, huh? That's Mario. He was on TV.
You could have at least changed out of your kit, Mario.
19 in front of 50,000 people. Imagine that, screaming your name. It's the most beautiful moment of my life.
What was it like for you, Shaq? Like, you're a little bit older, weren't you?
I was a bit older. I graduated university.
But it's got to be more pressure on a goalkeeper in your debut because so much is on you.
I was retelling this story to my son just this morning, just on the back of talking about Marc Guiu. Reading were away to West Brom, who were top of the second division, what is now League One. Ozzy Ardiles was in charge of West Brom. I had no idea I was going to play. No idea at all. And all of a sudden, in the pre-game talk in the hotel as you go for pre-match, Marc Guiu names me, and I had no idea. I hadn't signed a pro contract at this point.
Right.
I still hadn't signed a pro contract, pro terms with Reading, and he calls my name. And I did not know how to react. I was totally stunned. Well, as you do,
How long before kickoff would this have been?
A couple hours.
Okay.
So this should have been pre-match, as I say. So this probably would have been 12, 13, 1 o'clock thereabouts. And then the game passes in a blue, in a total blue. We lose, I think, 3-0 or something like that. So, but at that point, and again. While I'm a little bit older, while it's a few divisions down, the game finishes and you've realized one of your boyhood dreams. Yeah. I never thought as a young kid growing up in Trinidad and Tobago that anybody I would ever play professional football. And all of a sudden I played one game and I was in total disbelief.
Did it get easier from then?
I'm not sure that it ever did.
Right.
I think with time comes a change in expectation. Time and experience makes us all a little bit, cynical. And in that, now all of a sudden we start talking about money and you start having, we want to win silverware. And there are other things that you're now kind of setting your sights at accomplishing. But the mere fact that you play a professional game, that doesn't change. You never forget that moment. You never forget that emotion.
What about you, Frank?
Well, yeah, I was playing for Laval, and we were going away at Nice. And like Shaka, 3 hours before, the coach said, Frank, you're going to play at the back. And I was 20 years old, and I was selling shirts and shorts for a shop like 3 months before, and I signed for Laval. And in August or July, at the end of July, I was playing in the first division, where the Ligue 1 now. And you play in Nice, full crowd. And before the game, I needed a strapping in my ankle, and the physio made it too tight. But I didn't want to complain, didn't want to say anything. Except that after 25 minutes, I wasn't feeling my foot anymore.
Excuses.
So I had an awful first half, and the coach put me out and subbed me. And he said, what's wrong with you? I said, well, I don't feel my right foot. And he said, why you didn't say anything? I said, well, you don't want to say anything. The physio did the job, and maybe that was the right way to do it, but I couldn't. It was unbearable for me. And he was yelling at the physio. He was yelling at me, but he forgave me. I don't know if he forgave the physio, but we lost 1-0, I think, and that was my first experience. But as Shaka, we lost, but what the hell? And I don't want to use a metaphor, but when the first time is good, you want to do it again.